Attention please. This upload is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with subtitles. GPITRAL. GPITRAL. Definitely a must-see. Follow us.
Southern New Jersey's Pine Barrens. It's named for the unusual pine forest that grows miraculously on a barren plain of sandy, acidic soil. Coupled with this curiosity is the hideous monster that supposedly haunts these woods, the Jersey Devil. Over the past 300 years, witnesses, too numerous to count, swear they've seen the mythical creature.
In colonial days, if a well went dry, or hens didn't lay eggs, or milk went sour, they always blamed it on the Jersey Devil. Even larger things were blamed, like failure of crops.
The biggest outbreak of the Jersey Devil sightings was in 1909, when, like almost everybody in South Jersey,
he descends the cellar steps with a torch and steps on Christmas decorations.
Posses were sent out. Children were kept indoors. Schools were closed. Factories were closed because of this one notorious week.
From cops to mayors, I mean, you know, legitimate people saw this thing flying, and it's all described the same way.
It has the bony head of a horse,
The wings of a bat,
bright red, piercing, evil eyes.
It's a mixture, a mishmash of different animal characteristics, very unexpected. There's really nothing in the natural world that contains all of these different characteristics.
It's hard to imagine such a jumble of monster anatomy, let alone discover it in your basement. That was Paul Pedersen's situation back in 1963.
I heard something in the basement. It was getting closer and closer. And it just started screeching, this incredible sound. And I grabbed my sister and ran out onto the front lawn.
The Pedersen kids were forced outside, waiting in the cold for their parents' return.
It's okay.
What's going on here? Why aren't you guys in bed?
Dad, there's something in the basement.
When my mother and father got home, I told them what had happened. You know, my father was kind of like disbelieving it. You know, there's nothing down that cellar.
His father was in for a shock.
All the Christmas balls were broken, all the tinsel's all over the place, all the tools are scattered all over the basement. Something was down there. All the windows in the basement were nailed shut. The only way in or out of that basement, other than the cellar steps from the kitchen, was the coal chute.
To escape, it would have had to fly.
Is everything all right down there, honey?
It shook my father up pretty good. After that night, they tore the coal bin and the coal chute out of the cellar and dismantled it and threw it away. After
He shoots at a beer can.
Even our neighbors said, "You had a visit from the Jersey Devil."
They look up as a shadow passes
You might have
overhead.
just dismissed the whole thing as an odd curiosity. Only years later, Paul finally laid eyes on the monster. Once again, it happened right in his own home.
A couple years ago, I was watching TV one night, turned the TV off and was going upstairs to bed, and at the top of my steps is a window. And I noticed a movement out the window, and I looked down, and I saw this thing the size of a small elephant.
As they get in the car, a creature swoops over it.
And it had the head of a horse. And I looked back, and it was gone that fast. I'm sure I saw the Jersey Devil. It is real.
And Paul Pedersen has lots of company. Recently, Denise Dubois had her own frightening encounter with the Pine Barrens' notorious beast.
I've been to the Pine Barrens a million times, but this night was completely different. It was late 2008, and my then boyfriend purchased a new handgun, and we wanted to go shoot it, and I knew the perfect place.
She shakes her head solemnly.
They were in the thick of the Pine Barrens.
A map of Texas.
So we get back there, and we set up the target, and we're maybe about 10 feet from the car.
Show me what you got.
And the next thing you know, I hear this blood-curdling
A hawk flies in slow motion.
walk. It sounded like an eagle, but intensified by 50. I've never heard anything like this in my life. Never. And you can actually
Caption,
hear
Bat
the
Squatch.
wings
A hubcap lies on dirt near a road.
My hands were shaking, they were sweating, my heart was pounding. I couldn't breathe. It was pure, unadulterated fear. Oh my God, this thing, it's got to be huge.
Come on, we gotta get the car, we gotta get the car!
And it's coming for us. We felt like prey. It hit the top of my car, boom. There was a huge dent on my car. I feel the Jersey Devil was upset because we were shooting the gun. We were imposing on his territory.
He leans on the rail of his
There's
deck.
definitely something out there. Too many people report the same exact looking creature for it not to be real.
He drops his glass.
I'll never forget that scream. I have never been so scared in my entire life. Never.
In Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. A vast, fertile floodplain running along the northern bank of the Rio Grande River. This remote, largely unclaimed land is well known for attracting a huge variety of migrating birds. And within this same valley, there is a
The
legend
river
about
in
a
sunshine.
creature of monstrous proportions. A bizarre and terrifying amalgamation of bat and Bigfoot. Rumors about the flying
A man in
creature
his
came to
garden
life
looks
in
up
the
at the sky.
1970s, with an outbreak of sightings in communities in the Rio Grande Valley.
The buzz all started in the first couple months of 1976. Things came to a head when a man in Raymondville, out in his front yard, was attacked by a creature that he claimed had simian and bat-like features and leathery wings.
Reenactment, a giant bat blocks the car.
As the story goes, on January 14th, 1976, Armando Grimaldo stepped outside to enjoy the quiet evening. He heard papery flapping noise above him and felt a strange draft. By the time he looked up,
The brothers duck as the bat reaches the car. Caption, Monsters and Mysteries.
grabbed by the monster, Grimaldo finally managed to break free. He reported the attack to the police.
And his story was corroborated by his neighbors because the back of his jacket and his shirt had been shredded by what appeared to be talons. After that attack, the story went wild. All of the newspapers were reporting it. Other reports began to pour in. People were making their children stay indoors. They were afraid that the creature might attack them. There was a general panic throughout the entire Rio Grande Valley at that point.
The media immediately seized upon the name of Big Bird for this creature. But I will tell you what, This creature was not
The river in
fuzzy, it was
sunshine.
not yellow. It didn't have a funny looking beak. It was hideous.
A month after the sightings began, brothers John and David Dott witnessed a flying monster attack firsthand.
This will be the first time that I have told the story about my encounter with this flying creature. It's time for there to be an accounting for these things.
Appeared to be probably 8 to 10 feet tall.
Holy crap.
And all I saw was big glowing red eyes. This wasn't anything like I'd ever seen.
And it took 3 or 4 steps towards the car.
Back up, get us out of here!
I was bracing for impact. I thought this was it.
Get us out of here!